Clive from Clive's Art, and thank you for joining me in the studio today. And this is the third part, lesson 3 or part 3 of the clouds. We discussed clouds in the first episode, and then in the second episode you see me putting the actual blue background in, and I put the underpainting of the cloud, this main shadow colour. Now what we're going to do today in this particular lesson is build it up in a couple of levels, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we will get it finished. Yes, nice. And for those people that are observant, you might think, wow, he's changed his t-shirt. Yes, another day, and you can see some colour charts behind me, and that is a lesson that we're going to be discussing in the new year. Yes, we're going to be discussing that in the new year, hopefully. So we'll try and do our best without actually getting our tongue wrapped around our teeth. This is what's happening to me, because I'm a little bit, I don't know what's the matter with me today. I can't seem to talk very well. Doesn't matter. Who cares? I don't. The most important thing is that we can paint. So what I've got on my palette is a little bit of ultramarine blue and aside some titanium white. See, I told you my teeth are not working. I'll have to get them fixed, I think. I haven't got false teeth, I'm just saying, I'm just messing. Yeah, some titanium white and some ultramarine blue, and I'm hoping that that's all I'm going to be needing to actually build this cloud up. Now this is going to be mainly white with just touches of blue, just to give that effect, because the sun shines through. It's only water particles at the end of the day, and it's where the cloud is a little bit more dense. This light has got a trouble passing through, and so it gets a little bit more opaque and shows a little bit more colour. So when well, there we are. Let's get to the cameras. Now I've got my trusty palette, and I put a little bit of tissue paper on there and some greaseproof paper. That's all I'm going to be using. So I'm just going to put a bit of white in. I'm not using any water. This is straight from the tube. And I'm just going to touch a little bit of blue, as you can see. There's only a smidgen on there. And look how powerful that is. And that's what we need. So maybe just a touch more. Now the complement to blue is orange on our scale. Now if I put a little bit of orange in this, it's not going to look right, because it's got a bit of a purpley hue to it at the moment, which is how ultramarine is anyway. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get a touch of Payne's Grey just on my palette. There we go. Come on, there you are. I'm just going to get just a smidgen, just to grey that off. And then looking at our reference, we're just going to lightly rub that in as such. In exactly the same way as we did with the background, but now we're focusing a little bit more on that fluffiness, and keep a lot of these dark spaces here. The bottom of the cloud is normally darker. I'm still using that scrubbing technique. There's not a lot of paint on my brush now. It's that hole I made. This is an old canvas. This is not a painting for me. This is just a tuition for you. All I'm doing is going over that. I'm just going to add a bit more white to that now. I'm not using any moisture. A bit of blue, touch of black. Yes, it does take practice, and that's the most important thing when you're painting. Is that you've got to practice, practice, practice. It's like anything else in life. If you put the work in, then you'll get the results out. Okay, so I'm just going to continue with that, and then I'm going to do this area and down here exactly the same way in those two clouds there, and save video time, and we'll get back to when we're ready to get to the next stage. Okay, so we've done that now. I'm just going to let that dry just for a couple of minutes, not too long. I'm going to put an extra bit of white paint onto my palette, and the next stage, really, you can do that a couple of times, build up those shadows. And as I said, when you paint in skies, normally I don't put a lot of detail in my sky because my skies are normally in the distance. However, saying that, if you want a feature cloud like this, then obviously you're going to need a bit more detailing work. Now, what I suggest you do is just practice on a scrap bit of canvas or canvas board or on old canvas you've got, and just keep practicing these techniques. And the scrubbing technique and all that type of thing, you will get a feel for it, and that's going to help you in other paintings as well, not just clouds. So it's important that you practice all these different techniques. Now, I'm not going into any water. I've just rinsed my brush, and this is all the moisture I'm going to be using. I'm using neat paint. If I do need a little bit of moisture, then I'm going to go into my little tin. Now I've got a little tin now. Yes, look, see, and I'm going to go just dippy dippy like that, not glug in the bowls like I've said in the past. And I've just got enough water in there just to cover the tip of the brush, and that's all the moisture I use. So let's get back to the canvas. Yes, back to the canvas we go, and I'm just loading my brush, taking the excess off and a little bit of tissue paper, and I'm going to go onto this top corner, and I'm just going to put in some highlights. Taking the excess off, I'm dry brushing it now in. That fluffy effect on the top, a bit more paint, picking up a little bit more highlight here and there. And then dry brushing that in. You don't want any rough edges really, that's what you're trying to get, and it's just a matter of blending that through. Then you want to pick up a little bit more of that grey that you made, the ultramarine black and white. We can re-put that, a bit of that in there like that, just to intensify those shadows. Back into a little bit of white now. And the hard part about this really is trying to be as fluid and as natural as you can, because there's no right way to paint a cloud. You know, there's clouds are clouds at the end of the day. So there's no set approach. It's not like painting an apple. We all know what an apple looks like. But this is just a representation of a cloud. So, you know, clouds are never the same for long, really. a couple of little brighter bits here and there. Okay, and it's just a matter of just going in, looking where the highlights are, and this is why I suggest you work from a photograph initially until you get used to painting these things and you get to know roughly where all these highlights and shadows possibly could fall. And it's just a matter of just building now and trying to get some form there. But don't leave any rough edges, that's the key, I think. And if you want to use two brushes, you can use one just for blending in, rubbing that in there, and then you can actually put the paint on with this one. You could hear the kids playing in the garden, I don't know, it's raining as well, I can't believe it. I mean, I suppose we all did it when we were children. Not my children, by the way. My children are not that noisy. And yeah, it's just a matter of building up shape and form now, and looking at trying to copy it as much as you can from the photograph. So I actually put a little thing that I wrote onto Facebook about clouds, and so if you want to look back in the history and have a read of that, basically it says that because the cloud in the sky, when there's clouds in the sky, sorry, the light is scattered by water droplets inside the cloud. So you know the cloud is water vapor, like I said, so the light is actually scattered. Okay, so let me explain roughly why a cloud is white. Like we're painting here and darker underneath. Now, unlike the gas molecules in the atmosphere, the water droplets are about the same size as the light's wavelength, which means they will adopt whatever is being shone upon them, which is the sun. So the sun's light is white, therefore they will adopt that colour, and that's why when sun sets you get oranges and yellows, and it all depends where the sun is sitting in the sky. So the lower the lower the sun, the more it's skimming across the atmosphere and it's changing the actual light itself. There's like the prism then, so the lower it gets you can see more of the red, but the higher it is, more white, and your eye is naturally tends to fall towards the blue spectrum in any case. So it's called a scattering effect. Now, the reason it is that the cloud is slightly darker underneath, the closer it is to you, or you're directly underneath it, or you can, you know, it's in front of you, it's because it's more dense. The light is penetrating through the cloud, but it's also being absorbed by the cloud, by the moisture droplets then, and thus it's making it slightly darker underneath. Now, the further that cloud goes away from you, the less dense it looks and the more light is passing through, and it's the optical illusion that the furthest the clouds are away from you on the horizon, that type of thing, the smaller they are, but obviously the more clear they are. They're not as dark underneath. That's a basic explanation of why a cloud is white. So enough of that, let's get back to the painting. So a continual build-up now in the same principle throughout this painting, and again I'm going to stop the filming now, and I'm just going to carry on doing exactly what I was doing previously on the cloud, and I'm building up that little bit of white in there. I'm trying to get that fluffiness and that natural looking cloud basically, yes. So there we go. Right, now we can continue doing that as many times as you want. You can put a little bit of shadow in, you can mix a little bit of shadow colour, mix a little bit of ultramarine blue or whatever blue you decide to use with a touch of white, and bring a touch of that Payne's grey or black into that and make a little grey mix, and then you can just increase the shadow colours into the cloud. Wherever you feel fit, basically. You just need to practice, and I keep saying that word, practice, and it's something that we've all got to do, and including myself. And I like doing things like this because it actually does give me a chance to break from my norm of painting whatever I'm painting and concentrate on something totally different. And it's practice for me as well. So if you want to add those extra shadows in and just increase the tone of those shadows, you can do that. I'm not going to spend too much time on this painting now because, you know, it could take hours, it could take minutes. It all depends how detailed you want these clouds to be and how really you want them to look. And like I said, this is not going to be a finished painting. This is a tutorial, so I'm only going to be gessoing over this when it's finished anyway. But I just wanted to show you how to do it. Now I'm going to go one more stage and then I'm going to finish the lesson then. So I'm back in the titanium white, and I'm just going to put a little bit more white here and there on the cloud where I think the light will actually catch. And it's all a matter of building up your lights and darks like we do in any painting, really. And like I said, this is all painting is, really. It's especially with acrylics, it's a build up of layers and a build up of darks and lights. And once you've mastered that part, then it's quite easy to adopt that into any painting then. But doing things like this is important, because I keep going on about practice, 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 and that is very important that we do that, because we'll never improve if we don't practice. Because if we didn't get up and fall over when we were babies, and get up and fall over and get up and fall over and get up and move a little bit, then get up and fall over and walk a bit more, none of us would be walking today. And we need to adopt that in life, in anything we do. Is the more we practice or the more we do something, the more proficient we get at it, and the more enjoyment we get out of it, or the more money we earn out of life, because we're better at our jobs. And I'm running out of white paint now, so I'm not going to put any more white paint on, but that's basically all I want to do. And as all art is practice. It is a learnable skill. Some people have got a little bit more flair and ability than others, but if you practice, practice, practice and know the techniques, then you will be able to adopt that policy then and develop them into your own painting. Okay, not an exact representation of the photograph that I've got above it, but nevertheless it's a good exercise, a good lesson, and what I need you to do now is pursue this lesson, take it further, paint different cloud types, different formations, and you know, skies and that type of thing, and develop it, because all I'm showing you is a method of how to. It's up to you to take it forward and develop it and incorporate that into your paintings. Now I'm just about ready to wrap this up. I'm going to wait for this to dry, re-gesso it and do another lesson. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have learned a lot over these 3 lessons, or the 3 lessons that I've done, and there's a little bit of an insight about how a cloud is formed and the different formations of clouds. So happy painting, may your God go with you, and from me, Clive, from Clive's Art, I wish you a very, very happy day, and I will see you again on the next lesson. Bye bye.